Olive is an ostrich. She lives with her family in the outback. But Olive is very different. Olive's dad loves to run. Olive isn't a fast runner. Olive's mum enjoys laying huge eggs. Olive doesn't like the look of that at all. Olive's little brother pecks at the ground to find tasty roots to eat. Pecking at the ground makes Olive sneeze. But Olive has an incredible imagination. So while the rest of her family are running, pecking and laying eggs, Olive can be found imagining herself going on amazing adventures when she buries her head down, down into the sand. Until she popped up somewhere new. Olive was in a small, dimly lit room. In front of her were lots of buttons and levers and colourful flashing lights.
Where am I?
Some lights shone out over a beautiful underwater world outside the window.
But Geg, what a view!
There were hundreds and hundreds of fish swimming around in front of an enormous blue canyon.
Oh, I'm in a submarine deep in the ocean. I can't wait to explore.
Olive pushed a big red lever marked forward and the submarine dived deep down into the canyon. Olive spotted the opening to a cave.
Interesting.
Said Olive as she drove her submarine right into the cave.
It's even darker in here than it was before.
Olive drove through a big patch of seaweed.
Oh no, now I can't see where I'm going.
The seaweed suddenly came to life and picked up the submarine.
Ow!
Then in the headlights loomed the big green face of an octopus. Hello, bubbled the octopus.
Geg, who are you?
My name's Jonah. I've been trapped inside this whale for days. It's so good to finally meet someone new.
My name's Olive. But what do you mean, trapped inside the whale? I just drove into a cave.
Oh no, that was a huge whale's mouth you drove into, Olive. And now he's closed it shut. There's no escape.
But Geg, that doesn't sound good. We need to make the whale open his mouth again. Maybe I could turn my engines all the way up and then the bubbles will make the whale cough. Then we can escape when he opens his mouth.
Olive turned the submarine's engines onto full power and the water started to bubble up.
Oh, that didn't work.
But then the bubbles Olive had made tickled Jonah on the tummy.
Oh, those bubbles tickle.
An octopus with 8 legs. Tickling? I think I may have an idea. Jonah, if you use all your legs, you can tickle the inside of the whale's stomach and make him laugh. Then we can escape through his mouth.
Oh, I think that might just work.
He stretched out his 8 long arms and began to tickle the whale's tummy.
Tickle harder! Tickle harder!
Cried Olive. Jonah tickled as fast as he could. A wall of bubbles started rushing down the tunnel towards Olive and Jonah.
Watch out!
Geg, what's happening?
I think we might be going out of the top.
The top?
Olive and Jonah were fired out of the whale's blowhole, up high in the sky. Then they started to fall back towards the water.
Wow!
Jonah clung to Olive's submarine with his 8 tentacles as they fell. His body inflated like a parachute, drifting them both gently down to the surface of the water.
Well, that was a lovely, gentle landing.
Oh, thanks so much, Olive. I'm free at last.
That's okay. I think we've all had a whale of a time.
They both laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Okay, actually, I've been helping an octopus escape a whale.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Till she popped up somewhere new. It was a wet and grey autumn day, and Olive jumped out of a big pile of leaves. She was wearing a pair of green Wellington boots and a big yellow raincoat. Olive looked around and realised she was in an impressive garden.
This garden must belong to someone very special.
She was standing near a little shed. Next to the shed leaned an old tandem bike and some planks of wood. The shed door opened and out walked a badger.
Careful there, lassie. I've been tidying leaves to make the garden respectable before the Queen arrives to stay in her castle for the winter. She'll be here soon. It's going to be hard enough to finish in time without having you spread the leaves all over the place again.
I'm so sorry, sir. I'm Olive. Maybe I could give you a hand tidying the leaves.
Oh, well, thank you. You're an angel, dear. I'm Frank McBadger. I'm Her Majesty the Queen's personal gardener. We'll use these rakes to tidy the leaves up into one big pile.
Olive and Frank got to work. They raced against the clock to finish before the Queen arrived. It was hard work, but eventually all the leaves were in one huge pile.
Oh, thank you, Olive. Job well done.
But as they stood admiring their work, a big gust of wind blew the pile of leaves all over the garden again.
Oh, no, we're doomed,
Cried Frank.
There's no time to tidy the leaves up again before the Queen arrives.
Olive looked around the garden.
An old tandem bike, some planks. I think I may have an idea.
Olive took 3 planks and put them together in a star shape. Then she attached them to the old tandem bike, where the missing back wheel used to be.
Ooh. Come on, Frank. Let's get on the tandem and start pedaling.
Frank was puzzled, but he sat down behind Olive on the tandem bike. They both started pedalling.
Faster, Frank, faster!
Olive and Frank's feet were spinning faster than they had ever done before, and it made the planks of wood spin around like a huge fan. This blew all the leaves in the garden high up into the air.
It's working, Olive. We're tidying up the leaves.
Cried Frank. But Olive and Frank couldn't believe it. All the leaves had landed on top of the castle, almost burying it.
Egg! We didn't want that to happen.
Oh, no. Here comes Her Majesty.
What's been going on here, then?
Asked the Queen.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Your Majesty. She doesn't look happy.
He whispered to Olive.
Frank, this is marvellous, splendid, fabulous.
It is?
Said Olive, confused.
Oh, yes. Last winter, this old castle was freezing cold. What a splendid idea to use all the autumn leaves to keep the castle nice and warm.
Oh, well, don't thank me. Thank Olive here, Your Majesty. It was all her idea.
Oh, I see. Well done, Olive.
Olive curtsied before the Queen.
Why, thank you, Your Majesty. But it's probably time for me to leave.
They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Okay, actually, I've been tidying up the leaves in the Queen's garden.
Your head's been in the sun too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. She popped up somewhere new. It was a big room with red carpet, lots of pictures on the walls, and a funny-shaped object with 3 metal legs on display.
Oh, hey, this all looks very posh.
Said Olive. She was in the foyer of a cinema. Olive went up close to look at the funny-shaped object on its metal legs.
This is a film camera.
Said a man as he walked into the foyer. He was wearing a gleaming white suit with black buttons.
Oh, hello, I'm Olive. You look very smart.
Nice to meet you, Olive. My name is Steve Battenberg. I am the cinema manager. And tonight is the big film premiere of our new blockbuster movie, A Winter Wonderland.
Oh, great. I love a good blockbuster.
So do I. But I lost the last scene of the movie, and I still need to make all the popcorn. Everyone will be arriving soon. What am I gonna do?
Well, why don't I help you?
Great idea, Olive. Hey, maybe you could make the popcorn for me.
So Mr. Battenberg showed Olive how to make the popcorn. You had to put corn into the machine and turn it on.
Well, I should be okay with that. I'll just put the popcorn in here.
But she put the entire bag of corn into the popcorn machine in one go.
You can never make too much popcorn. Well, I think we're all sorted.
But what shall we do about the last scene of the movie? Without it, the audience won't know how the film ends.
What happens in it, Mr. Battenberg?
It's a beautiful winter's day. The snow is falling from the sky, and the snowman winks to the camera and smiles.
Olive looked around the foyer and spied the film camera.
A film camera? Your white suit with black buttons? I think I may have an idea. Mr. Battenberg, does the film camera work?
Yes, I believe it does. To record, you just press the button with the red circle on it.
And action!
So Olive and Mr. Battenberg began filming. But something wasn't quite right.
Oh dear, we still don't have any snow.
Suddenly, the popcorn machine started rumbling. Pop, pop, pop! All the popcorn came flying out of the machine into the air.
Oh, no!
Said Mr. Battenberg.
I think you put too much corn in, Olive.
Don't worry, it's just what we need. On camera, it looks exactly like snow.
So Mr. Battenberg winked and smiled to the camera and looked just like a snowman on a beautiful snowy winter's day.
Oh, Olive, what a great idea. But what about all the popcorn? How are we going to serve it to the customers now?
But the customers loved the idea of snowing popcorn and simply caught it in their popcorn buckets. They were all very excited as the film was about to start.
The film is better than the real thing.
Whispered Mr. Battenberg.
And all down to Olive, the director.
That really was a great film.
Said Olive.
Although, I had a pretty good idea of how it was going to end.
They both laughed. And as they did,
you're right.
Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Heck, actually, I've been a film director.
Your head's been in the sun too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Well, she popped up somewhere new. Olive was standing in a big room, surrounded by huge skeletons.
Heck, these are very impressive.
Olive saw a little old man dusting one of the skeletons.
Hello, I'm Olive.
Oh, hello. My name's Terry Dactyl. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. What is this amazing place, Terry?
Well, Olive, this is a museum, and these are dinosaur skeletons. Dinosaurs used to roam our planet millions of years ago.
Where? That's a long time.
Oh, yes, and it's my job to keep these spotless. I could really use some help tonight dusting them.
I'd love to help you, Terry.
Thanks, Olive. We have to be very careful, though. They're extremely delicate.
So Olive and Terry got to work dusting the bones. But all of a sudden, Olive spotted a shadow moving. It looked like one of the dinosaur skeletons.
Hey, the skeleton's alive!
Olive turned and ran away, but she wasn't looking where she was going.
Olive, watch out!
Cried Terry. Too late.
Yeah!
Olive ran straight into another skeleton, and all the bones collapsed. Those bones tumbled into the next skeleton, and it fell over too. Then the next, and the next, until every skeleton had tumbled into a huge pile of bones on the floor.
Oops, sorry.
Said Olive.
Olive, what have you done? The museum opens soon and everybody will want to see the dinosaurs.
Sorry, I saw a dinosaur move over there and it scared me.
Standing next to the pile of bones stood a rather sheepish-looking boy wearing a dinosaur mask.
Oh, that's my son, Jerry Dactyl. What have I told you about creeping up on people wearing that mask? I'm sorry, Olive. No wonder you were scared. I'm sorry, too.
Said Jerry.
That's okay, Jerry.
But how am I ever going to put all these skeletons back together? It's impossible. Would you like to see my dinosaur drawings, Olive? Look, I've done every single skeleton in the museum.
These are really good. Drawings? Piles of bones? I think I may have an idea. Jerry, we can use your pictures to help us rebuild all the skeletons. I'm sure we'll be finished before the museum opens.
Great idea, Olive. Let's do it.
So they got started.
Put that there, Dad.
But it was like a huge puzzle. It really wasn't easy to work out where the bones were meant to go,
Put this one here.
Something's not quite right.
said Olive.
Too late. The museum has just opened. Here comes the first tour group.
And here on your right is the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and as you can see, it had absolutely huge wings.
Oh!
And over here is the Brontosaurus with its two tails. That's enough of the dinosaurs. Let's move on, shall we?
Phew, I think we got away with it, Olive.
I think we've created some brand new dinosaurs, like the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Okay, actually, I've been rebuilding dinosaur skeletons.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Until she popped up somewhere new. Olive was standing on the deck of a huge wooden sailing ship in the middle of the sea.
Okay, look at all that water.
Ahoy there!
Olive saw a cat wearing a dashing outfit and a sailor's hat.
Welcome aboard. I'm Captain Chris Columbus, the most famous explorer in all of the seven seas.
Hello, my name's Olive. I've never met a famous explorer before.
Olive, you don't have any food on you, do you? Me and my crew are absolutely starving.
Olive turned around to see a chubby bulldog and a Jack Russell.
Oh, hello.
These are my trusty shipmates, Bully the cook and Master Jack Russell, the deckhand.
We're really hungry.
Complained Jack.
I'm sorry. What happened to all your food?
A few days ago, we sailed through a terrible storm. An enormous wave washed all our food overboard, along with my map of the seven seas.
Now we're down to our very last tiny piece of stale bread.
Said Bully sadly.
Oh dear, that's not going to fill you up.
Said Olive.
And without my map, we're lost and can't find our way back home.
I'm not very good with maps and directions, but maybe I can find you something to eat.
Olive looked at Bully's vest and Jack's mop.
A mop? A string vest? I think I may have an idea.
Olive tugged on a loose end of Bully's vest. It unravelled into a long piece of string, which she tied to the end of the mop.
Oh, what's that for?
Asked the confused Captain Chris.
It's a fishing rod. We can use it to catch fish for dinner. I just need something to get the fish to bite.
Olive spotted the last scrap of bread in the basket. She tied it to the end of the fishing line and threw it in the water. Oh! Cried the crew.
Our last scrap of bread.
You'll just have to wait.
So they waited, and they waited. All their tummies rumbled because they were so hungry. After what seemed like ages, there was a tug on the line. Olive pulled a massive fish out of the sea.
Hooray for Olive!
Hooray!
Cheered the crew. Olive caught fish after fish and all sorts of other tasty sea creatures. Then, suddenly, Olive felt one almighty tug.
Oh, help!
The crew all grabbed hold of the rod and together they pulled out a huge whale who immediately sneezed and from its blowhole gushed a spout of seawater with a map on top.
My map! Now we're no longer lost. Let's celebrate.
Woohoo!
So Bully cooked the biggest fishy feast ever. They ate and ate until they could eat no more.
Would you like any dessert, Olive? Jellyfish and ice cream?
Oh, no, thank you. Just the thought of it makes me feel all wobbly.
Everyone laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Actually, I've been sailing on the high seas.
Your head's been in the sun too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. She popped up somewhere new. Olive was standing in the middle of a huge circus ring. She was wearing big shoes, a silly wig, and a large red nose, just like the one worn by a clown in a poster she could see nearby.
Oh, I'm at the circus.
Suddenly, someone shouted.
Oh, look out!
A cheeky little monkey wearing a red hat swung past, snatching her red clown's nose from her beak.
Hey, come back!
You'll never catch him. He stole my red nose too.
Said a very sad-looking seal, dressed in a clown costume.
I've been trying to get him a red nose back all day, but he's just too quick.
Oh, I'm Olive, and you were on that poster.
I am the great Grimaldi, the funniest clown in town. Or at least I was. I don't feel very funny now, not without my red nose.
Olive was sad to see Grimaldi so downhearted.
I'll get your red nose back for you. Then you can be the funniest clown in town again.
It's not possible. That cheeky monkey is always out of reach.
Olive looked up at the monkey sitting on a trapeze, high up in the roof of the circus tent. He was wearing a red nose. Then she saw the circus cannon nearby.
A cheeky monkey too high to reach. A circus cannon? I think I may have an idea.
You can get my red nose back?
Grimaldi asked.
Yes, wish me luck.
Suddenly, the cannon went boom,
Wow!
shooting Olive up into the air like a rocket.
Red nose, here I come.
Olive was ready to snatch the red nose back, but as she flew over, the monkey ducked, sending Olive shooting over his head and bouncing off the sides of the circus tent. Luckily for Olive, Grimaldi swung into view on another trapeze and caught hold of her just in time, much to the now watching audience's delight.
Oh, thanks, Grimaldi.
Olive looked down and saw the red-nosed monkey balanced on a high wire below them.
Okay, one red nose coming up.
Olive let go and dropped down onto the high wire, catapulting the surprised monkey back up towards Grimaldi, who caught him by his feet.
Gotcha!
Cried Grimaldi. Suddenly, the monkey threw the red nose up towards Grimaldi.
Hey, catch!
Called the monkey. Grimaldi caught the red nose, but he had to let go of the monkey's feet, and the monkey dropped down onto the high wire, sending Olive catapulting.
I have it!
Olive looked down.
But who has us?
They tumbled towards the circus ring below. Luckily, they landed in a safety net.
Who are they laughing at?
They're laughing at you, Grimaldi. You don't need a red nose to be funny. You're Grimaldi, the funniest clown in town.
You're right.
Just then, Olive heard something falling from above. She looked up and plonk! The monkey had dropped her red nose, and it landed right back on Olive's beak.
Bravo, Olive. You make a great clown.
Well, I do like a bit of clowning around.
They both laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Actually, I've been clowning around in the circus.
Your head's been in the sun too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. She popped up somewhere new. Olive was standing in a little village. The buildings were made entirely out of logs, and they nestled between tall green trees and snow-topped mountains. She was wearing a lovely woolly scarf.
What a beautiful place.
Just then, Olive heard a strange gurgling sound coming from behind one of the log cabins. So she went to investigate. She found a little girl sobbing into her hanky in a most peculiar way. Olive had never heard anything like it.
My name's Olive. Are you okay?
Oh, I didn't see you there. My name's Heidi Hi. My family own the holiday camp here, and today we're holding our famous Swiss family yodeling concert to mark the first day of the ski season.
Oh, big! How exciting!
Oh, you little don't understand. There isn't any snow. Tradition says if we don't have any snow on the first day of the ski season, we won't have any snow at all, and no skiers will come to visit.
In the distance, Olive could see the beautiful snow-capped mountains, but in the village there was only the tiniest dusting of snow on the rooftops. She was about to start thinking of a way to help when she heard an announcement boom out over the loudspeakers.
Heidi hi, time for our last yodeling rehearsal.
That's my mum. I'd better go and practice.
Olive followed Heidi back to her family to find out what yodeling was. Then the hills erupted with sound as Heidi's family all burst into a strange song. Olive stood and listened. It was then she noticed that the dusting of snow on the rooftops had begun to quiver and shake. As Heidi and her mother hit a high note, the snow rolled off the roof and landed on the ground. Olive grinned.
Yodelers? Loudspeakers and a snow-capped mountain? I think I may have an idea. Heidi, help me collect all the loudspeakers. We're going to create a super speaker.
Olive placed them in a long line, pointing towards the snowiest peak.
Now all you need to do is yodel into here, and I'm sure your voices will shake the snow down from the mountains in no time.
Yodeloo, do you really think that'll work?
Asked Heidi.
There's only one way to find out.
And with that, they burst into song. In the distance, the snow on the mountain tops began to quiver. It looked like it was dancing as it gently started to roll down the slopes towards the village. But even though they yodeled with all their might, the snow stopped short.
Yodeloo will have to join in, Olive. We're just not loud enough.
Said Olive as she cleared her throat and prepared to sing. They yodeled and yodeled, and the gathering crowds watched with delight as the snow tripped and danced its way gently into the village, covering the entire place with a thick blanket of snow.
Oh, Olive, there's enough snow here to ski and sledge and build snowmen until springtime. Thank you.
It was no problem.
They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Actually, I've been yodeling in the Swiss Alps.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Till she popped up somewhere new. Olive was in a room full of lots and lots of colourful clothes hanging on long rails.
Oh, hey, look at all these beautiful clothes.
Suddenly, whoosh, a ball of screwed-up paper flew past Olive. Olive poked her head around one of the rails of clothes and saw a pink poodle sat at a desk, scribbling furiously.
No. I just can't get this design right.
Cried the pooch. She screwed up another piece of paper and threw it.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm Olive. What are you trying to design?
I'm Dogatella, famous fashion designer, darling. Tonight is the biggest catwalk show in Paris Fashion Week, and I'm meant to be showing off my amazing new designer dress.
So what's stopping you?
I've completely run out of ideas. I don't suppose you could help me, darling.
Well, I'm no fashion designer, but maybe I can help.
Olive looked around and saw balls of screwed-up paper everywhere.
What are all these screwed-up balls of paper, Dogatella?
Those are some of my rejected fashion designs. No good.
Lots of fashion designs, lots of clothes. I think I may have an idea.
Olive collected all the screwed-up fashion designs and selected the best bits from each one. Then she took Dogatella's scissors and cut out all her favourite pieces.
If I use all the best bits from each design, we should end up with an amazing designer dress.
That just might work, darling.
Dogatella helped Olive stick all the bits together. And when they'd finished, they set about making the dress using various pieces of clothing from the rails. Dogatella cut and stitched them all together, adding lots of shiny buttons and sparkly sequins.
Finished.
It's certainly an interesting design.
They finished with just enough time for Olive to try the outfit on before the big Paris catwalk show. Dogatella helped Olive put on the dress. But there was one small problem.
Okay, who turned out the lights?
Oh no, I was in such a rush to finish the designer dress. I forgot to make a neck hole.
Olive stumbled around the dressing room, bumping into the rails of clothes.
I can't see.
Clothes kept falling off their hangers onto Olive. She collected 5 jumpers, 3 dresses, 4 pairs of trousers, and even a few pairs of shoes before accidentally stumbling out onto the catwalk. The crowd gasped.
What's going on?
Called Olive as she desperately tried to find a hole to poke her head out. Then there was a loud ripping sound, and Olive's head popped out. The crowd went wild. Dogatella addressed the crowd.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, why put on just the one item from your wardrobe when you can wear everything at once? I present to you the Olive range.
All the people in the crowd started putting on more and more layers of clothes. There was a woman with 8 jumpers, another with 6 hats, and a man with 14 pairs of trousers.
Olive, you've started a whole new fashion trend. You're a fashion sensation, darling.
Well, that's just completely sensational, darling.
They both laughed, and as they did, Olive realized it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Kirk, actually, I've been a designer with Dogatella.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Until she popped up somewhere new. It was a place covered in soft yellow sand, and it was next to a glistening blue sea.
It's a lovely sandy beach.
Olive looked down and saw she was wearing flippers. She tried to walk but fell flat on her beak.
Don't worry, little ostrich.
Boomed a loud voice.
I'll save you.
A strong-looking horse helped Olive up. He had the shiniest mane of hair and the brightest smile she had ever seen. He wore a red jacket and spoke into a megaphone.
Hi, I'm David Hoppyhoof, beach lifeguard.
Dang, your loud voice is making me ears ring.
You'll get used to it. I'm always here, so if anybody gets into any trouble on this beach, I will rescue them.
Well, you're a real hero.
Just doing my job.
Boomed David as he proudly combed his shiny hair. Just then, Olive heard a cry coming from the sea. 2 tigers were in trouble. Their claws had punctured their rubber dinghy.
Hail, we're sinking.
David, those tigers need your help.
But David had disappeared. Olive couldn't see him anywhere. Then she noticed a very funny-looking sandcastle. Olive shook her head.
Why are you pretending to be a sandcastle, David? Those tigers need you to rescue them.
I can't.
But that's your job. You're the beach lifeguard.
I was only pretending. I've always wanted to be a lifeguard, so I borrowed this outfit. The truth is, I never rescued anyone.
David started to cry.
You see, I hate the water. It makes my hair go all frizzy.
Help, we're still sinking.
Olive spotted David's huge comb and a surfboard lying nearby.
Oh, cool. A surfboard? I think I may have an idea.
David and Olive grabbed the surfboard and using David's comb as a paddle, they paddled out and rescued the tigers.
Hooray, you're our heroes.
They paddled back to the beach. David didn't get a drop of water on his shiny hair until...
There you go, my tiger friends. Back safely on dry land.
As David lifted the tigers onto the beach, he started to wobble.
Oh.
And then he toppled backwards into the sea.
Oh, your hair looks different.
Exclaimed Olive.
I love it. It's so big and it's so bouncy. It's really beach chic. Excuse me.
Came a stern voice. It belonged to an even bigger horse, who really did look like a lifeguard.
My name is Big Jim, and I am the lifeguard of this beach. What are you doing with my megaphone? I'm sorry. I only borrowed it so I could pretend to be a lifeguard like you.
Big Jim smiled.
I think you should keep it. After seeing you bravely rescue those tigers, I think you would make a great assistant lifeguard. Why, thank you.
Beamed David. He was thrilled. He couldn't believe his dream had finally come true.
And now you've got the perfect beach haircut as well.
Said Olive. They all laughed. And as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Heck, actually, I've been helping Hoppy Hoof the lifeguard.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Till she popped up somewhere new. Olive was in a big field. She was wearing a warm scarf and a woolly hat. She was surrounded by huge balloons with baskets underneath them. There were people inside the baskets, and everyone seemed very excited. Olive noticed a sad-looking penguin, so she went over to investigate.
Hello, my name's Olive.
She said.
Is something wrong?
Yes.
Wailed the penguin.
I'm Pilot Pete. I was supposed to take part in the Great Hot Air Balloon Race today, but my teammate hasn't arrived and you can't fly a hot air balloon on your own.
Well, maybe I can help fly your hot air balloon.
Oh, thank you. That would be wonderful.
And he helped Olive climb into the basket.
Come on, hop in. Watch your feathers.
The race started. Pete fired the gas cylinders and the balloon took off, rising high into the sky. They were travelling very fast, and Olive and Pete were soon overtaking all the other balloons. They were up so high, Olive could see for miles, and the town below her was very clear.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh, we're winning.
She spotted lots of houses that looked really tiny from so high up, as well as a school with children waving from the playground.
Hello.
Suddenly, disaster struck,
Oh, no.
said Pete.
We're running out of gas. We haven't got enough fuel to finish the race. We'll never win now.
Olive peered over the edge of the basket. They were getting lower in the sky, and the other balloons were passing them.
What are we going to do?
Then Olive spied a factory with pictures of springs painted on the side.
A hot air balloon? Some springs? I think I may have an idea.
Said Olive, pointing at the factory.
Can we land over there?
Pete landed the balloon in front of the spring factory, and a man wearing a suit came out to meet them.
Hello,
Said the man.
I'm factory manager. Can I help you?
Do you have any spare springs that we could have?
Asked Olive.
Yes, you see these old springs? You can help yourself.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Olive collected 4 big springs and attached them to the bottom of the basket. Then she climbed back into the basket and jumped up and down to make the balloon spring into the air.
Oh, what are you doing?
Olive and Pete bounced high into the sky and flew over the countryside, each bounce taking them higher and higher. And soon they were overtaking all the other competitors.
Bravo, Olive.
Shouted Pete as they finished the race in first place.
We've won.
Olive and Pete were awarded the Golden Wings trophy for being the fastest hot air balloonists ever.
Oh, thank you.
Cried Olive.
I might not be able to fly myself, but now at least I've got golden wings.
Everyone laughed. And as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
said her mum.
Okay. Actually, I've been bouncing in a hot air balloon.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure.